Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS Legacy. The sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. 9 more women have filed civil lawsuits in federal court against Bill Cosby. Now, last Wednesday, these 9 women decided to go to a federal court in Nevada to file a civil lawsuit against Bill Cosby as related to alleged sexual assaults that took place between 1979 and 1992. Now, all of these women are basically taking advantage of an opportunity offered to them by the governor of Nevada as related to these look-back laws, which allow a woman to go out here and file a sexual abuse case in civil court against an individual, even though the statute of limitations have run out. And when I take a critical examination of this civil lawsuit filed by these 9 women, it basically is their attempt to revise history as related to these allegations against Bill Cosby. Because if Bill Cosby were the sexual predator that they were alleging, I would think that these women would have gone out here and filed those lawsuits as far back as 1979, because a black man never had any of this alleged power, fame, and prestige that these women claim Bill Cosby had. Now, not back in 1979, Bill Cosby was basically a television performer, and again, with most black television performers, they do not have any sort of power, fame, or prestige in the entertainment industry because they do not have the influence to go out here and get a project greenlit. They do not have the influence to go out here and get somebody hired on the set of one of their projects with just their say. No, most black entertainers are just workers, and at the time of 1979, Bill Cosby did not have that kind of influence, nor did he even have that kind of influence when he was at the peak of his career at The Cosby Show. Bill Cosby was never that influential. However, these women are trying to revise history as related to the narratives of their stories, trying to make Bill Cosby into somebody who he was not, and again, making the allegations as related to sex crimes that if they had happened, you would think that they would have gone out here and got a police report to substantiate them. Because when I listen to these stories, they basically sound like an attempt to revise history as related to encounters on the casting couch, which is what many aspiring actresses, models, and other types of entertainers participate in when they are young. And in many cases, you'll have women who have gone out here in their youth, going out here participating in sexual encounters in a covert contract, which they believe will get them the attention of Hollywood producers and get them on a job on a production. However, this never really works because, yes, you can go out here and have a sexual encounter with an actor, but an actor has no influence of what goes on a set of a production. No, what goes on the set of a production is approved by only 2 people, the executive producer and the director. So many women will go out here and sleep with an actor and then have that skeleton bone in their closet. And then what will happen is when they get older and they cannot get jobs or get money, what they will do is look to try to get their economic needs met by going out here and making an allegation against someone like a Bill Cosby. And again, I find the announcement of this recent lawsuit to be quite suspect because it seems like every time one of these white entertainers winds up in the news as related to alleged sex crimes or some sort of scandal, what happens is the mainstream media goes out here and starts reporting stories on Bill Cosby, and women start looking to file lawsuits against Bill Cosby. Every time one of these white guys gets jammed up or starts to get into some sort of trouble, all of a sudden we get stories about women filing lawsuits against Bill Cosby. And when I look at this 9 women filing these lawsuits, basically they are looking again to try to get a payday for themselves as related to a questionable look back law. Now, this look back law is one that I have a real serious issue with because it really violates our U.S. Constitution. Because if a person can go out here and change the statute of limitations for a law arbitrarily, this can go out here and affect not only Bill Cosby, but it can affect all men across the nation. Because this allows a woman an opportunity to go out here and make an allegation against a man, and again, making an allegation against a man in a civil court case, which has a preponderance of the evidence, and again, putting that man's financial security at risk over allegations that may or may not be true as related to events that have happened years ago. And again, that violates our Constitution as I see it, because it prevents that man from getting due process under the law, which is what he is guaranteed under our Sixth Amendment. A man is supposed to get due process under the law as related to criminal charges, and he's supposed to be able to get that case tried in a court of in a trial as related to things because he's innocent until proven guilty. And this revision of the law basically undermines a person's ability to get due process under the law by saying, oh, a person can look back in time and try to revise a story to say something happened and then take this court to civil court and then get that case tried in the court of public opinion as related to criminal charges. And again, that is a violation of our Sixth Amendment rights of due process under the law, because if this person allegedly committed these crimes, they are entitled to be put on trial with a jury of their peers, and they have a right to a speedy trial. And again, Mr. Cosby has a right to a speedy trial. And if these women felt that there was a crime committed against them, they had reasonable time to go and make those charges. And again, Bill Cosby was not a star of any kind, so they could have easily gone out here and made those criminal charges, and they would have been able to get those charges through because, again, Bill Cosby was not as influential as a Harvey Weinstein, who knew the district attorney of California, knew the governor of California, yet Harvey Weinstein was basically prosecuted for his crimes, and that's what makes these look-back laws look quite suspect. If you've got Harvey Weinstein, a man with great political influence, in prison finally for many of his sex crimes, then why couldn't these women go out here and file criminal charges against Bill Cosby as related to the so-called Me Too movement, as related to these multiple allegations that allegedly took place? Again, when I look at this case, again, the reason why prosecutors never picked these cases against Bill Cosby was because there really was no evidence, and there really possibly was not a crime, because many celebrity women, again, and aspiring wannabes, get out here and get involved with men like a Bill Cosby, hoping to try to elevate their career, hoping to get more acting jobs and acting gigs. And unfortunately, when things don't work out, and they are just another pretty face that's turned out in the entertainment industry, many of these women want to go out here and revise their stories to make themselves out to be victims as related to alleged crimes that may not have happened. And again, when I look at this case, again, it is quite suspect. And again, I see some collusion between the governments and these women to try to destroy Bill Cosby's legacy, because this whole policy of look-back laws is really quite suspect. And I find it interesting that nobody is looking back at many of these white guys like Roman Polanski. Nobody's looking back at Stephen Collins. Nobody's looking back at Woody Allen. Nobody's looking back at many of the white guys and filing lawsuits they're only filing lawsuits against Bill Cosby, a black man, and that really makes me look at this law as being racist in some way. Because why is it that many of these women who say that they are abused never want to go against, again, Stephen Collins or Woody Allen or even an institution like the Catholic Church? Again, you would think that they would be using these look back laws to go after these individuals and these institutions, but it seems like the only person they're going after is Bill Cosby. And again, I just find it interesting that these women go after Bill Cosby, but I don't see them going after any of the white men who have great influence, like Les Moonves was alleged to have had. I mean, Les Moonves was running the CBS network and had great influence, but I don't see anybody filing lawsuits against Les Moonves. Again, just shows me how these laws, again, are suspect and racist, because here you have all these white guys, and you would think that these women would be filing, lots of them, the way that they came out in the middle part of Me Too after Gretchen Carlson got her $20 million. I mean, after Gretchen Carlson got her $20 million from Roger Ailes, we saw all these white women running to go out here and make allegations against white men. But in the case of these look-back laws, it looks like they're getting on code after realizing that they had bit the hand that fed them after they got Al Franken out of the Senate. So that's what makes this look-back law look quite suspect, and any good lawyer should be arguing as related to the constitutionality of this law that revises the history as related to previous alleged allegations of sex crimes. Again, this law is, again, one that I believe is unconstitutional, because, again, if everybody in this country is innocent until proven guilty, and everybody is supposed to have their day in court, and if a woman believes that she is violated by a man, then let her go out here and file a police report to substantiate that claim, and then let that man have his day in court and allow him to have his due process under the law. This kind of tactic is just, again, underhanded and unethical, and it really shows how desperate people are to destroy the legacy of Bill Cosby, that they would again try to sabotage our U.S. Constitution and take away the rights of not only Bill Cosby, but take away the rights of all men, because this law, as it's been presented, can be used against any man, and again, it could be used to destroy the finances of any man fighting it, and it could also be used to destroy the reputation of a man without ever giving him due process under the law. And again, that is what makes this kind of law really dangerous, and again shows how stupid racists are, because racists will go out here and put the entire state of the union at risk to try to destroy the reputation of Bill Cosby, because again, this whole law in and of itself really shakes at the fibers of our Constitution, shapes at the fibers of our republic, and again, that's what makes this whole case of these 9 women going against Mr. Cosby extremely dangerous, because it could set a very dangerous legal precedent that would affect everybody after Bill Cosby passes away. Yes, this law does supposedly expires, but the whole thing is it's an unconstitutional law, and again, it just shows how some people just put their anger as related to black people above the state of our union. And again, when I look at these 9 women making allegations, I have to believe that they're quite suspect, because they come after the Me Too movement. They come after Bill Cosby got his conviction overturned, and they're coming into civil court, never once ever looking to come into criminal court, because I would believe if you were violated by this man in such a fashion, if that you're saying that he's a sexual deviant, you would wanted to have gotten this deviant off the streets, because again, their story really doesn't hold, because in 1994, O.J. Simpson, who was a faded football star, was taken to trial in the trial of the century. So that just proves the case as related to taking Bill Cosby to trial, and how his so-called enormous power, fame, and prestige would not allow him to victimize them, because if they could go out here and put O.J. Simpson on trial, and he was less popular than Bill Cosby, then it would have been no problem to take Bill Cosby in 1979 and take a alleged predator off the street. And again, if you study this story within the historical context of things, you will start to see the holes in this story, because I've heard stories from women as far back as late 1960s, when Jim Crow was going on, making allegations against Bill Cosby, and that's where I start to say Bill Cosby would have no influence towards the end of Jim Crow and the racism that went on in LA at the time and in places like New York. A black man back then, all it takes is a white woman saying he did something, and he would have been arrested back then. So when I listen to this story, it's got a major hole in it when you start again taking these allegations and putting them in the context of history. These women say that they were afraid to go to the police, but the police would have easily listened to them, because again, Bill Cosby was not, while he was big on TV as related to getting ratings with his Cosby Show, he was not an influential player like a Les Moonves or a Harvey Weinstein. He did not have DA's phone numbers in his Rolodex like Les Moonves and Harvey Weinstein. He did not have police working for him like Les Moonves. No, Bill Cosby was not that influential. And when I listen to this story, again, it's looking like a cash grab that is orchestrated by state governments that really needs to be scuttled, because it could hurt the state of our union with this whole unconstitutional attempt to take away the wealth of a man and take away from the legacy of a man who is an inspiration and an influence on many black people out here. Now, if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashware's The iBookstore and Google Play. And if you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can send a donation to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes, 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.